That's a ball for the locker room. If you have not already, please make sure to hit that like button and comment down below. We're trying to keep growing the brand. And you know what? If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. And that's a great way to help out the channel free of charge. And if you want to help us out monetarily, we have a Patreon and some super chats as well. But let's get right into it. Samsonov. That's a 1 year, $3.55 million deal in arbitration. And this ain't a bad price for Samsonov. He was very effective last year for the Maple Leafs. And I mean, he was their best goalie. So let's go right into the article. Samsonov was vying for a $4.9 million deal, and the Maple Leafs submitted a $2.4 million deal. So somewhere in the middle. Makes sense. He finished with a 27-10-5 record with 4 shutouts, a 2.33 goals against average, and a .919 save percentage with his first season with the Maple Leafs. You know, I have to say, good for Samsonov. Making money. He was just kind of looked at as a backup at some points, especially his last year here in the Washington Capitals. But let's break down Samsonov, and is he really worth that money? Okay. First year in the NHL, solid record, 16-6-2, .913 save percentage, 2.55 goals against average. But you did notice the 2 following years, there was a downward trend. A 13-4-1 record and .902 save percentage, 2.69 goals against average. And the following season after that, with his most games played, 23-12-5 record with an .896 save percentage and a 3.02 goals against average. And it just, you need better than that, especially for a guy that you picked in the first round and you're hoping is your future. So the Capitals moved off of him, and that was probably the best thing for his career. Now, I was skeptical of the Samsonov dealing when they acquired him, right? I was very skeptical because, you get rid of Campbell. How will he do? Well, he did pretty damn well in 42 games played, 27-10-5 record, a .919 save percentage, a 2.33 goals against average, and the most shutouts he's ever had in a season 4. You can't really argue what the Maple Leafs got from him last season. And some of the questions that we had, some people that were not necessarily for this signing because it didn't really make sense. Now, Jack Campbell was an Albatross with the Edmonton Oilers, so it definitely did pan out. But Samsonov didn't show like the flashes of being. I mean, he showed some flashes. I should correct what I'm saying. That he didn't show the consistency to be able to be a starter at the NHL level, and he proved me wrong, and I'm all for it. But let's look into the Maple Leafs. Very peculiar cap situation. Now, they are currently $12.3 million over the cap, almost 12.4. Now, Jake Muzzin looks like he'll be put on LTIR. He's on LTIR right here, right, at $5.625 million. So it's saying, according to Cap Friendly's calculation, after people are put on LTIR, they'll have a cap space of negative $6.756 million against the cap. So they're going to have to make some space. And how are they going to make that space? Well, let's go down to Matt Murray. Matt Murray is making 4.687 against the cap. 4.687 million against the cap. This has been rumored, but Matt Murray's been rumored to be bought out. Now, looking at his contract, he signed with Ottawa, and Ottawa retained, some of that salary. He signed a 4-year, $25 million deal. That has not worked out. I was right on Matt Murray. I wasn't big when the Maple Leafs got him because I wasn't sure, can this guy stay healthy? And he's just so damn inconsistent. Now, he did look good at times with the Maple Leafs, but couldn't stay on the ice. You can be extremely talented, but if you don't have availability, there's no point of even having you on a roster if you can't stay upright. But looking at his buyout, if they bought him out this season, the buyout cost would be $2.66 million. The cap hit against Toronto would be $687,000. So you would be opening up quite a bit of cap, about $4 million worth of cap space. And that makes this current cap that they have of a little bit over $6 million far more digestible, because then they're just going to have to make another move and maybe just move a guy. Because I overall, I like the additions that the Maple Leafs have made. I like Bertuzzi. I like Max Domi. Bertuzzi at $5.5 million for 1 year. That's smart. Smart for both parties. Bertuzzi gets a 1-year deal. Hopefully the cap goes up next year, gets a higher payday. Max Domi at $3 million. I mean, he looked pretty effective last season. A little not as effective when he went to Dallas, but still a pretty good player. They brought in Klingberg at 4.15 million. Now defensively, is he a lockdown guy? No, but on the power play, he'll be effective enough. Is that a little bit rich for Klingberg? Yeah, I'll say that. I think Klingberg's a solid offensive contributor, but defensively, he's not there. And with the emergence of Joseph Wall last season, it does make sense that you would go with the tandem of Samsonov and Wall. And Samsonov being 3.55 million, I mean, for what he produced last season, that's a really good bargain. It's actually going to be interesting to see how Swayman's deal plays out due to Samsonov getting 3.55 million. So yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how this pans out. But overall, yeah, they're gonna have to make some moves, whether that be maybe moving like David Kampf, Yarncrook, or somebody with a little bit bigger of a cap. I mean, Nylander has been rumored for years to be, or for about the past year, I should say, being moved because of his cap of near 7 mil. And maybe you could kind of get a return on some assets there and get some prospects. But Maple Leafs are gonna have to make some moves. I like some of the additions they have made. I think Matthew Knies looked really good when he played last season, so hopefully he keeps developing. But yeah, Maple Leafs aren't done here. They're going to have to move a guy, buy out Murray, and it's just going to be interesting. But I'd love to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What do you think of the deal with Samsonov? Do you think it's a good deal for 1 year? And also, I have to ask this: what moves should the Maple Leafs make? Should they just buy out Matt Murray and get rid of a depth guy, or should they also trade Nylander to keep opening up more space? I'd love to know your thoughts down below. And I apologize, this is not going to be a super heavily edited video. A little bit sore, a little bit tender today, so I want to get this out. But expect the usual expect the usual content as usual tomorrow. But I'm Captain Paul. I'll see you in the next one.